All right, here we have the 2026 Toyota RAV4. This is a brand new generation for the RAV4, and this is a big deal because this is one of the best-selling vehicles over here in North America, in Canada and the US. And what's cool is actually the RAV4 is built really close to where I live in Woodstock, Ontario. I live in London, Ontario, but they build a lot of RAV4s in Woodstock. They also build them in Kentucky and over in Japan too. And I'm here on a press trip with Toyota Canada, and we actually got to go through the Woodstock plant and see the current generation of the RAV4 being built, which is really cool. Every 58 seconds, a new RAV4 comes off the line. It's just mind-blowing when you see it all happening and you're like, man, this is crazy. This is a little bit of a different video. I'm here on a press trip, so I just have this car for a short period of time. So I'm just gonna show you the interior space and maybe a little bit of a drive, but I'll hopefully get to live with a RAV4 for a week later on when these 2026 models come out. So for this new generation, there are only hybrid versions of the RAV4. There are no more just standard gas only. You have to get a hybrid now. So for this new RAV4, there are three different styles essentially that you can get. The Core, and then there's this adventure outdoorsy look, and then there is the Sport. Now this RAV4 is powered by a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder that makes 184 horsepower and 163 pound-feet of torque. And then with the electric motors combined, this car makes 236 horsepower. You've got a 100 kilowatt front motor and then a 40 kilowatt rear generator. According to Toyota, the new hybrid is about half a second faster to 60 miles per hour than the previous one. However, if you do get the plug-in hybrid, which used to be called a Prime, it makes 320 horsepower. The plug-in hybrid has 150 kilowatt front motors and a 40 kilowatt rear motor with up to 80 kilometers of electric range. Now, when it comes to this adventure style RAV4, you can only get this one as a regular hybrid. You can't get the plug-in on this one, whereas you can get a plug-in hybrid on the Core and the Sport. This Woodland has about half an inch or a little bit more of ground clearance over the other RAV4s. The new RAV4 hasn't really changed in size. It has the same wheelbase and it's the same length as the current generation. Now they've definitely done some updates to the sound insulation. It is a lot quieter in here, and they actually keep the RPM lower because you get more power out of the EV motors now. So it's not as loud sounding when you pin it. It's still a little raspy, but it's definitely better than the previous one. Now, obviously, when you're looking at a hybrid RAV4, you want to know fuel economy. Well, Toyota says you should be able to get 5.4 liters per 100 kilometers, which is pretty great. But if you do get this Woodland because of the roof rack and just because of the bigger tires, you should get around 6 liters per 100 kilometers. So I definitely prefer the exterior of this Woodland the most out of all the trims. The first thing you'll notice about the Woodland are these LED fog lights made by Rigid. Then you'll also notice the Toyota logo lights up. And then we have a skid plate at the front here too. The lighting on the Limited that I drove earlier in the day had circular fog lights, but neither of these trims had the high grade lighting, which you'll see here. Over to the side, we've got 18-inch Adventure rims with all-terrain tires, raised roof rails with this Adventure logo that looks kind of like my business's logo. But overall, at the side here, it looks fairly similar to the 5th generation. At the back, we have new LED taillights. There's an enlarged rear glass window for better visibility. This has a trailer hitch, and that is standard on the Adventure trim. Overall, I think it kind of looks like a mix of a Nissan Rogue and a Ford Edge. If you're wondering about towing capacity across the trims, well, the base LE Hybrid gets 1,750 pounds of towing capacity. The XLE Woodland Limited and XSE get 3,500 pounds of towing capacity. And the plug-in hybrid can also tow 3,500 pounds. However, the GR Sport is not rated to tow. Right off the bat, we have a huge upgrade for this interior. I don't actually have the big 12.9-inch screen in this one. Only the higher end trims get that. This is a woodland trim, but we still get a 12.3-inch digital cluster up front, and we get a 10.5-inch screen for the center console, and it's actually still a really good screen. I haven't actually even tried the bigger screen yet. So the new RAV4 runs Toyota's latest software platform called Arene, which finally brings over-the-air updates, so the car can actually improve over time through software upgrades. One of the cool new features is the dynamic radar cruise control with eco mode. It doesn't just keep your distance anymore, it actually will tell you if the vehicle in front of you is creating low or high drag, helping your car adjust for better efficiency. And get this, every trim now comes with a built-in drive recorder that continuously captures a 90-minute loop of 1-minute clips. Basically, it's like having a dash cam from factory, something I think every car should have by now. So just to note, this is a pre-production vehicle, so not everything works 100%. This interior is more in line with the trucks that Toyota's been putting out, like the 4Runner, the Sequoia, the Tundra. This looks more like those vehicles as opposed to, say, maybe the Crown or the Prius. I really like this interior. I think it's really nice. There are actually 3 different steering wheel designs from Toyota for this RAV4. This is the rugged woodland one. And I do like the steering wheel. Buttons are all laid out well. We've got our adaptive cruise here. We've got our lane keep. And then we've got all our music and sound controls over here. Plus you can change the theme of your driver's display over here. One thing I really like is the navigation screen. And actually if you use Apple Maps or Waze, it'll show up here as well too. We've got 4 different drive modes, which we can click here and switch to Eco, Sport, Custom, and Normal. But down here we do have physical buttons. So obviously the drive mode button, and then we have an EV mode button where you can force the car into EV if the battery is ready. We've got our trail mode here, and then we've got our snow mode too, and you get different animations for those drive modes as well. And we do have some upgraded graphics from other Toyotas. This looks pretty sleek. So right here you have a home screen, and you can change the widgets. You can also change your drive modes from the screen too. Once you throw it into sport, the engine activates. It does have wireless Apple CarPlay, and that's how this looks here. Looks pretty good, works smoothly. One thing I will note, and this is probably my only knock on the vehicle as of today, would be that the fan speed has moved into the screen. I just prefer when there's a dial or a physical button for fan speed, but at least we do have physical buttons for the temperature controls. And as you can see up here, this Woodland has the heated steering wheel, and we have heated seats as well. Then we've got our hill descent button, traction off button, and then we have a camera button, and you can actually throw the camera on at any speed you want. Here's how the camera looks. This one has the 3D camera, so you can see around the vehicle, which is pretty sweet for a vehicle like this. This used to be kind of reserved for really high-end cars, but there you go, you can see around the vehicle. We've got nice big cup holders, and it does have a divider you can take in and out. We have a traditional gear shifter in this Woodland. If you get the higher end trims, it's gear by wire, and there's just like a little knob that you pull back and forth for park, reverse, neutral, drive. I do actually prefer having a full out shifter, and I do like this shifter. It doesn't feel cheap in any way, it feels really good. Now, one really handy thing is we do have a center console where you can open it from either side, just like you find in the Crown and also in Lexus products. So this is nice, and it is a fairly deep console. We've got this nice orange trim because we're in this Woodland, and that orange trim is throughout on the seats too. Now you can get a panoramic roof for the RAV4, and I was in a different trim this morning that had it, and it was really nice. This has the roof rack system on it, so this doesn't have a panoramic roof. We've just got a normal sunroof. This also has a wireless charger up here, and I haven't had any issues with overheating today either. Pretty decent storage in here. You've got a little compartment up here. You've got a decent amount of room for water bottles in the bottom, and then you've got this big gaping hole. I don't know what you would put in there, maybe like a granola bar or something. But otherwise, I really like this interior. In the back here, I'd say it feels pretty similar to the previous RAV4 in terms of just overall size, because they haven't really made this vehicle any bigger. Good legroom, really good headroom. We've got 2 USB-Cs, and we do have fans back here. Decently flat floor. This hump doesn't come up too much. And then we, of course, have 2 cup holders. Now when we open the trunk here, there's about 11 liters more of cargo space compared to the previous gen, so about 1,070 liters or 37.8 cubic feet. And then the seats do fold 60/40. All right, so what I will say about driving this RAV4 is just that, oh my goodness, I can't see anything. The sun is so bright. All right, so a little bit of a different video than normal, but here we are in the RAV4 driving now, and what I will say is it's definitely quieter. The engine's not as loud as it used to be, and that's thanks to the electric motors. They're producing a bit more power than they used to be, so the engine doesn't have to work as hard. When you pin it, it's still got that CVT noise, obviously, but it's definitely way more insulated in here than it used to be. The lane keep works really well, so let's put that on. So here it goes. We've got a little bit of a bend in the road right here. And great. We were using this on the highway today. It will lane change for you as well with this particular model, which is awesome. Tells you to get your hand back on the steering wheel there. Adaptive cruise works pretty good. That leaves still quite a bit of space from a vehicle like most Toyotas do, but it's a bit better than it has been. The steering feel is very nice. It's light. It doesn't get overly tight when you put it in sport mode, I'd say. Let's say normal and then sport. Now, like ever so slightly, it gets a bit stiffer. It's a really nice steering wheel. Feels great. Very easy to get around town with this. Right now, this particular Woodland is averaging 6.3 liters per 100 kilometers, but the one we had this morning, that wasn't a Woodland, we were getting 5.9 liters per 100 kilometers. And these are also brand new vehicles, so they will only get better over time with fuel efficiency. I really like the map in the driver's display. This feels very high end. This is like what Audi was doing a long time ago, but now you've got it in a RAV4, which is nice. Overall visibility is still really good in the RAV4. You can see around the vehicle pretty easy, lots of glass, and that rear window is now a little bit bigger too. Now, I recently reviewed the CX-50 hybrid, which uses the RAV4 powertrain, the current powertrain that the RAV4s have, not this newer one. You definitely can tell that this is just a smoother ride than the CX-50. CX-50 has a torsion beam, this has independent rear suspension, and you can just immediately tell how much better this takes bumps. The 360 camera works really well. No issues there. So my takeaways from driving this for just the day here, really smooth experience overall. Love the light steering, really comfortable seats, and the suspension is really nice. It feels very forgiving. It's cool that you can see the little bump outs on the hood. Makes you feel like you're driving something a little more substantial, or it feels like you're driving kind of like a truck or something. To sum up this new 2026 RAV4, it's definitely more refined, and I think this is still going to sell just as well as the other generation did. They really didn't mess up the exterior design. I think this Woodland is probably the best looking of the trims, but they all look pretty good in general. Now, I will definitely book a 2026 RAV4 from the press fleet when they arrive next year and do a more thorough video on this, but I just wanted to give you guys a quick little video showing the new RAV4.